All right, so to go back here real quick, for anyone playing along at home, Amelia, we miss you. I'm expecting a souvenir. So today's 24th. We're going to take your mastery tomorrow. Because we're taking your mastery tomorrow, bring some other work. If that means it's math work, okay. But if you are totally caught up for math, I would bring a book or something for another class, just in case you get done with it. You might not get done with it because it's a mastery for me and it's end of chapter. Thank you, Crab.
I was just waiting for you to notice. I was like,
until you did the sidestep, I didn't realize that you were looking like a crab. So, if you don't get done with the mastery, it is fine. I put in the subnotes that if anyone is worried about that, to just put NF on your paper. Ladies, can I ask why we're on our computers? Okay. Because I could see what Maddie was doing. I can't see what Anna was doing, but I just don't know why we're on there.
no, Andrew, time's up. Stop working.
Yeah, it almost seems like you're kind of cheating. So, here's the deal. Because you're trying to carve out extra time that your classmates aren't getting. All the way. All the way. Take away the temptation. There we go. So, Chapter 9 homework. In MAP, put the assignments 2.5, 2.6, and 2.7 in there, but then I was like, I don't want to drop the grades in, because that'd be a lot of missings that then I just have to go back and change. Guys, I'm being real honest here. I don't want to do extra work. So I need you today to turn these things in so I can put checks in instead of putting missings in, because then that saves me work. So, what questions... I'm what?
You're efficient.
I'm trying to be efficient. You are correct. Go ahead, dude. Anything from 2.5 that you could not solve that kept you from turning it in? Aiden.
Well, I did try that. I just don't know what it is. I don't know if you graded last night.
Oh, I have a billion papers to hand you guys back.
Well,
Actually, let's just do that first. Guys, this is how wild all your paper turning in. My sentence fell apart. I had to organize your papers like alphabetically using this organizer thing because it's just chaos right now. There's so much work coming in and out. So this will be alphabetical. Maddie, Connor, Grant, pretty much everybody has papers to come get from me. That doesn't mean everybody come up because then it's like zombies. Grant. Oh, sorry, I handed you all of Maddie. Here's all of you. That's all Maddie. Patrick, Gus, Jake. Patrick.
Gus is not here.
No Gus. Jake. Spencer, Amelia. Amelia's not here. Renault. Nevin, Max. Kay. Colin. Walter. You're welcome. So if you are not getting 7.25 or 6 or 7 back right now, you haven't turned it in. Aiden. Anna. Brenda.
Thank you.
You are welcome. Yeah, your answer is not correct though, actually. So, by the way, using like measurement or ruler didn't work out. Lily. Jordan. Nolan. All right. Yo. So come see me at extensions or potentially at the end of class.
Okay, yeah, I have no
We might have time at the end of class today, is what I mean.
Because I don't know when else I can do it.
Yeah, or Monday. I mean, it's okay if it takes a couple days.
I have to do it Tuesday because I have. Wait, no, Monday.
I mean, like during the day.
Yeah.
That's not yours? I really thought that whoever wrote down this quote, I really thought that was you. I just thought it was
Probably
funny.
would have been.
Well, that's why I gave it back to you. I thought that was you.
It could have been.
Okay. Grab a seat, though. Whoa, come on. Math 7's going to beat that real easy. Ooh, when we started, got way off.
Okay.
That doesn't matter if it goes back to its owner. I just thought it was funny. Here, I'll take it.
But I want to see who it is.
Okay. So. Right. You know that's fair. It's Jake. Okay. So. I got this piece of graph paper with my homework and just kind of Hudson thought it was me. But it's quoting him when it says, "Don't trust me if you trust me. Up to this point, you have a problem Mr. Hudson.
Which I don't think was the actual direct quote, but okay.
It's not mine. Is it any one of yours? Quoted it on graph paper.
And we're gonna move on, so I'll take that from you if you want.
It's Nolan.
There we go. What up, Mr. Kabila?
Just checking out what you guys are doing.
I don't know what we're doing, honestly.
That's a very good question.
No questions from 925. Max.
134.
34, what about it hung you up?
It's stupid.
Well, that's not very nice, but be more specific.
I don't like it. I don't like figuring it out.
You're going deeper down the road of not being very nice. So is it identifying whether we are linear or non-linear?
Yeah.
Is it, since this is back in chapter 9, I'm pulling up the ebook because it'll just be easier that way. So 925, and not even homework help, but just ebook. So we identify if the growth, hey, thank you. We identify if the growth is linear or not by comparing the change in y over the change in x. So, especially if we went to the homework help for this, which will probably start breaking it down for me. So when x increases by 1, does the y increase by the same amount every time? No. And therefore, this shows non-linear growth. So if you set up some different comparisons, because you can't just do it once, right? If you only look at like a set of points, you got to do it a couple different times and compare. Does the whole table stay consistent as it grows? And remember, growth can go either way. We can grow up or grow down. Like a plant wilting over time, or, you know, like the growth would then just be considered negative. It's negative growth.
Like when you get old, you get shorter.
926. Guys, we got to start moving a little bit faster also because Mrs. Hunter needs to take the small group and do some work with them. Max.
139 and 140.
So let's do this actually. I'm going to pop over to 1011, do the stuff we need to do super fast, and then we can do any more homework questions that we need to. Cool? Just so that then Mrs. Hunter can take that small group. We'll get there, so keep it out. We'll get there, just keep it out. All right, everyone should have 1011. If you didn't get it up front, get it from up front.
Oh,
Cuberoots.
It's just.
Now, wait, raise your hand, because I bet you're about to say what I told Mrs. Hunter you guys were going to say.
It's the square root of square root.
No, that is not what I thought you were going to say, actually. The square root of the square root. Okay, well, if we're going to talk about the square root of the square root, and since you guys have a mastery tomorrow, that, well, I was going to try to make the joke about, like, what's on your mastery, but we already looked at what's on your mastery. Guys, one of the questions on there says, explain what square roots and square ring have anything to do with squares. So if I think about a square, and yes, I know this is kind of transparent so you all can't see it, what does a square root or square ring have to do with a square? Brenda?
If you square root a number, it's the length on each side of the square. No, yes. If you square it, the area of the square is the length of each side of the square.
So if we know the area and we take the root of the area, like if I gave you a square with area of, I don't know, 9, and we say, well, what number times itself will equal 9 units squared? Well, that would be 3, right? So the square root of 9 would be 3, and that is our edge length then. So that would only be units, because that would be the edge length. Jake?
Would cube roots be basically to the power of like 3? Or power
So
of
that's cubing, but not cube root.
Yeah, it's the opposite.
So what do you mean?
Like so like 9 to the power of 3, like 9 squared to the power of 3.
Well, so if this is the edge of our square, if I cube this number, let's go back to what we were talking. You're trying to jump us to cube real fast. If I square this number, if I take 3 and I square it. What does that actually do?
It
Like
becomes a
physically
square.
do, Nevin? It takes the length of 3 and turns it into a square as opposed to just a length. And this has how many dimensions? 2. It's got length and width, or length and height, or whatever you want to call those 2 dimensions. So if I take 3 and I instead cube it, we would make it into a cube.
Wait, how will you do that?
That's exactly what I'm going to teach you. Aren't you glad you like have somebody in the room who knows what they're doing?
Wait, so that way it's 2D and then
So before we dive into this, I want you all to look at 10-1, and I want you to save your comments for your team. I'll come to you in just a second. Talk with your team about 10-1. Take like 2 or 3 minutes. Talk with 10-1. Well, that's not a square, that's a cube. There are squares on the cube. Okay. If I cube the 3 times 3 times 3. What is 3 times 3? What's 3 times 3? What number? So what you're saying is the cube root of 27 is 3. You're correct.
Yeah.
Okay. Did anyone say you were wrong? I think how you said it wasn't quite like. Maybe I misheard. Maybe it's my fault. Maybe I misheard you.
The cube root of 3 is not 1.
Cube root 3 would be a very ugly number. If you want to times itself makes 3.
You're just like, that'd be a very, very ugly number.
It's not good, I'll tell you that.
It'd be 3 times 3. 3 times 3.
3 you can't write them.
Times 3 times 3 times 3.
Does it have to be a word problem?
I mean,
Or you do
if you're using words, it's a word
I
problem.
have no idea about
Oh, wait, no. You can ignore it. You can,
Does X count as a word?
I don't know, it depends.
Oh, Mr. Hudson. That's
Yeah. You can do
Yeah, when you're a math teacher and play with, like, get to play with shapes all the time, you find some fun things.
Would you want to teach like geometry classes?
I get to teach algebra and geometry.
Yeah, there you go.
Well,
Well, that's right, because Brennan does like math 1 and math 2, but like math 8 and then math 1.
All right, bring it back together.
Wait, the situation.
Huh. Amelia's card just fell out because we took it out yesterday, and Gust is not here again today, so we'll bury that card. Connor, what was your group discussing about cubing versus cube roots or whatever? Just hit us with some knowledge.
Some knowledge. Okay. 1 plus 1 is 2.
That is some knowledge.
We were talking about how the area of this would be 3 times 3 times 3.
Area or volume?
Because
So-
it's not just it's not just height and width. It's also like.
What are we used to saying for any prism?
It's length times width times height.
Length times width times height, right? So length times width times height. Which here, if it's a cube, all of those are the same. So it's cursive, right? Back in the olden days, we used to have to write using that.
when you were in school, did you write with a feather?
A quill? you
Yeah,
mean?
that.
No, but I think they're sweet. What's 3 times 3?
No, and if you gotta make a joke about it, at least know what it
27.
Hold up.
is. It's a feather.
Hey, bring it back, because I got some people not paying attention. And I'm worried that come next week, you're going to come in and be like, I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm going to be like, that's because you weren't listening. 27 came from a number times another number times another number. Each of these would have a label on it. So it would have been feet times feet times feet. So our label turns into feet cubed, which is how we know volume versus area is if a label has feet cubed, it is talking about volume or anything cubed. Right? Because we're talking about physical cubes. Now, this problem involved something that we haven't talked much about yet. Asking you to discuss, or maybe it's the next problem. So this one was volume. So the volume of this would be 27. Right. In reverse, if somebody gave you the volume and they asked you for the edge length, I had a couple people as I was walking around say, wait, how would we cube root? So grab a calculator. I should probably grab the same one as you. So my friends on graphing calculators, I will do this on the graphing calculator as well. I'm going to show it to you on, thank you, on one of the multi-views. For a second, I thought you weren't going to let me have it.
I was thinking about it.
Move at this one. Move at the Texas Instruments TI-30X.
Most of the keys are set up the same on that one.
Yeah, 30XS.
How?
You want me to show you?
What button?
He's like, whoa.
You press second,
Okay.
and then this.
Which one are you pointing at? That says X though, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But, okay, so don't we need X to be 3?
Yeah, just click it. Like
Okay. So, second, click it. Wait,
And
what?
then-
A and S?
Okay.
That doesn't seem right. That doesn't seem right.
Answer. Hold on, let me. Can I?
So, grab a seat.
Yeah, but then you go to the side. and then-
Grab a seat. There's one piece that you don't know. Can I please, maybe?
I am
Okay,
certain that
fine.
she would
Lily,
know.
fine. Lily.
Okay. So, can I show my calculator?
I mean, this is the same as that one. They have the same keys, guys. It's just the screen that changes.
So what you're going to want to do is first click clear, and then go and click 3. Now second, and
Oh.
That was Yoda.
The X root is waiting for us to tell it what root. So what Lily just told us was click the 3 first. If we want third root, we want the baby 3 here in front of the root symbol. So if I do third root of 27 and then hit enter, I should get 3.
Oh, for a second, I thought you had to write the answer before you wrote the square root. I was
Now,
like, but then I realized-
Alternatively, let's say you forget that. And this is why I like these calculators, because the screen shows multiple things at once. The other way we can do this is using a power. But we talked about the relationship between
Negative.
powers and roots. Not negative. You want to take another shot?
That's more positive.
It's not negative. It's fraction power. So this, and I know like the glare is a little weird. If I do 27, try this, guys. If I do 27, hit the caret, do the 1/3, right? Like 1 divided by 3. The 1/3
Whoa.
power is doing the third root.
Yeah, I got 9.
Then you did 1 divided by something, like you typed it in.
Exactly.
Oh, you're... So mine's not in parentheses.
There's a longer
Why
way
is
to
your
do it.
calculator doing different than mine? So if it's getting the wrong answer, do it in
Yeah,
parentheses.
Yeah, you do it for
No, you get 3.
Because what yours did, I don't know how to make mine.
Oh, yeah.
Is yours in classic if you go to mode?
No, you just have to show friends.
No, so what happened,
yeah,
and this is what Mrs. Hunter's saying from the side there, it did 27 to the first, and then it divided by 3 because it blindly follows the order of operations. Right? It cannot think. But so here's the sit. I love you guys. I love how excited you are, but I need to get some content to you really quickly and then give you time. There's less like time to play today. Here's how you can fix that if you want. Hit mode, go to math print, and if you put your calculator in math print, that is how mine behaved differently than yours.
Where's mode?
Mode is at the top, right by quit, or right by second.
Oh, yeah.
So either way, you just need to make sure that 1/3 stays up in the power. So if yours doesn't make the power, the bitty numbers, you got to put it in parentheses. Now, guys, all of that to say, we could just do 3 x root.
No, we don't have that. Yeah.
Well, then I guess you're stuck doing it the other way. And I bet you do. It's just hidden somewhere else. borrow your calculator right now? Yeah, this is also why I like the multi-views. You do have mode on this, you just don't realize it. Here's why. On these calculators, it is this button that does degrees or radians or gradians, which you don't know what those mean yet. If I hit second that button, there I can go from float, scientific, or English. The menus just look different. So it's the same options in this mode button over here. See how I have like normal, scientific, English, float, scientific, English? It's the same options, it's just set up differently. This is why I do like these calculators better. But either way, I guess the safe way we can talk about it is do 27 to the power, that's a 2, 27 to the power of 1/3. Or just use the x root. Right, we could do that. Or 3 and then second x root 27 gets the right answer.
How do you do it on the graphing calculator? I mean the actual thing.
Same thing, actually. So the graphing calculator, sorry, Ronaldo, there you go, has the same buttons. They're right here. But the X root is actually hidden in a menu. So if you have one of the graphing calculators, you're going to want to hit math. And in the math, I know there's a button that says math on the calculator. It's funny. In the math menu, there is a third root. Like it, no offense to anyone with the like not graphing calculators. This is better because it's more of a computer. This is like a smarter computer. It's like an old cell phone compared to a smartphone, right? Like it's got more capabilities, but you don't need all those capabilities yet. You don't need one of these calculators. But that's why there's a different way to do it in this calculator. It's a bit fancier, but it also costs like 10 times as much. No joke. It costs 10 times as much. One of these yellow calculators is like $15. This is like $150. All right, so
Like the Lamborghini of calculators.
This is like 10.
there are even nicer ones than this one though, for like accounting and stuff like that.
Get your Supreme gold-plated calculator.
So I'm probably going to let Mrs. Hunter take her group because they have some stuff they need to do. We're going to come back to doing more with this next week. I think I'm actually just going to call it right there and say, like, I want you guys to play with this as much as you want. We can talk more about this, but I want Mrs. Hunter to be able to take her group and do the work she needs to do for her class. So you guys can either work on 10.1.1, work on anything from Chapter 9 if you still need to do that and turn it in. I need 9.2.5, 6, and 7 turned in. So let's go back to those answers and make sure that everyone's comfortable on those homeworks. All right, 9.2.6. Oh, no problem. 9.2.6. 9.2.6. So, if you are totally comfortable on all the homeworks, turn them all in. Like, you should at least not be talking because you are negatively impacting your classmates getting over their struggles. So if you got nothing else to do, that's a lie. You have 10.1.1 that you can do. You have 10.1.1 that you can do. All right, Max, you had asked about 40. Max K.
Oh, yeah.
What number had you asked about?
Crap, let me look.
It was on 2.6.
Okay. Wait a second. Oh, 139 and 140.
You guys don't need to stand and wait here. I'll take whatever questions you got. But if it's a see me, it might need to wait till later if we don't have time right now. We'll see what happens. 140.
Yeah, and 139.
That's perfect. Those are very related questions. So in hey guys, in 139, and I'm gonna cheat real quick to draw a pretty looking triangle.
Cheater.
I'm efficient.
It actually takes longer to get that out.
Yeah, but my triangle looks darn good. So, the hypotenuse and one leg are 65 and 60. Which one's which? Well, the hypotenuse has to be the longest. So 65, and then just based on my picture, I'm going to make this leg the 60. What is the length of the third side? Well, I'm going to think about my Pythagorean theorem, a squared plus b squared equals c squared. Remembering that c is the hypotenuse value. Hey, Jordan, would you do me a favor and throw that door closed, please?
Imagine having a name like that.
Pythagoras.
No. A squared plus b squared equals c squared.
Well, I mean, Elon Musk named his newest kid Y.
What? It's like AEO.
Maybe I'm mixing people up. Was it not Elon that his kids are like X and Y?
His kid is like, it's like really complicated. It's like some sort of like thing.
Like math equation or something?
It's
What a
Like,
nerd.
Just give him an actual name.
Yeah. So, Max, the only way to do this is with a calculator, because otherwise these numbers are too hard to deal with. So we're going to do 65 squared. That gives us 4225. We're going to do 60 squared. I could probably do that in my, yeah, because 36 and then the zeros will equal whatever b squared is. So now I need to use some Chubby Bunny Kitty method here and get rid of the 3600. So 625 is my b squared. What do I do to unsquare something? Square root. So I'm going to hit second and the square button to get the root. Hey, do not hold your computer like that. I know it's your personal computer, but that's how you crack screens. Trust me. Especially spinning around in circles holding your computer like that is how you can crack a screen. So, b, since I took the square root of that, b would be 25. So my third side over here would be 25. Now we do the same process in 140, except they gave us the triangle. So I'm going to do 30 squared minus 7 squared, and actually 30 squared. And guys, some of you, your work looked like this, of like you wrote the squares just kind of around the shape, and that's fine. So what I'm going to do is 900 minus 49. That gets me 851. The square root of that is not as nice of a number. 29.17 is our approximate there.
I put a little about.
Yeah, squiggly equal. 30 squared. 30 times 30. 30 squared is 900 because the hypotenuse squared. So it's because my pens sometimes get stuck when I'm trying to make the loop of the 9. Yeah, sorry. Thank you for checking me on that because it looks wrong in the video then if it looks wrong to you.
Oh, and also, for 143, I don't know if I was having a brain fart or something, but I forgot how to do like the rest of it apart from just like filling in the stuff.
What is the change in y going from 7 to 2?
5.
Up or down?
Down.
So down 5 for change in y. What's the change in x going the same point to point?
It's 5.
Up or down?
Up. Wait, no.
Yeah, from -5 to 0. So when we look at the slope, guys, a couple of you have check minuses that I just gave you back. Because your slope, you're goofing up. It's delta y over delta x. You're flipping it. You're putting x over y. It's y over x. So this would be -5 over 5. And guys, funny enough, if you do it wrong here, you'll still accidentally get the right answer. Because -5 over 5 is the same as 5 over -5. So here, you could do it wrong and accidentally get the right answer. Guys, even a broken clock is right twice a day. Yeah, some of you are thinking about that really hard.
Yes, I did.
And then the y-intercept is when x is 0. That's the y-intercept.
Yeah. I just. Oh, no. I just.
So for finding the rule, our rule will end up being y equals -1 x. You don't even need the 1 really. Plus 2. A broken clock would stop on whatever time it stops on. Then, in the next 24 hours, it will be that time twice. So even a broken clock is right twice a day. It's another one of those weird appellation statements. Like, if it was a snake, it would have bit you. Nevin. Ha, 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 ha.
When you said that, I thought
You were being even nerdier than I was.
When you said that, I thought you were talking about the it's just going at the like daylight savings didn't get changed. So I was like, no. They
No,
don't
like a
need.
broken clock.
They're right.
Like it stopped. Like a broken, stopped clock. You guys just are way too much of critical thinkers for my appellation statements.
No, the clock is right 96 times.
96?
Yeah.
I don't even want to ask how, because you're going to have some genius way of how you got to 96. All right, 927. 927. The thing that I got some people on, guys, even if you got back 927 today, even if you got it back, look at 152. This is what some of us messed up with the slope. So I would like you to put your eyes back on it. In 152, it's on the back at 927. Whether you turned it in or not, well, if you turned it in, you should have it back. Guys, this negative 2/5. Guys, I got some people not listening that are the ones who goofed this up. Negative 2/5. That is telling us, for both of these, the slope. I can put the negative on top, or I can put it on bottom. That won't actually change how I draw it. And that's the delta y over the delta x. So if I draw my axes, and guys, some of you have a see me for this problem. So like, as long as you can come and explain to me what you did wrong, that'll take care of your see me. So if I make my axes, where would my top equation they gave me start? Y-intercept of 1. So I start at 1. And some of you have a see me about this question with graph scaling. You can't just mess with the scale to make your graph look, I mean, you can, but you shouldn't. We want to actually be able to see the slope of negative 2/5. So if I put the negative on top, I go down 2 to the right 5. Watch what happens if I put the negative on bottom. So positive 2 over negative 5. I go up 2 to the left 5. Oh, hey, look, it's still on the same line. So whether I put the negative on the top or on the bottom, my line should have a negative slope. It should be going down.
Wait, is it okay if I
But if you accidentally did negative 5 over 2, your line is going to look way too steep. So if your line looks crazy steep like this, you accidentally went down 5 over 2, as opposed to going down 2 over 5.
What if I scale by 1/5?
Yeah. I mean, if each of these axes are scaled by the same thing,
Yeah.
it's okay. But it's silly because, hold up, here's the moment of why because. I have to start at 1 or start at negative 2. If I scale in this space by 1/5, I don't have enough space to get to both of those numbers. So that's the problem if you try to like mess with your scale. This is just a scale by 1, and look, it looks fine. It looks great. But it says graph it, to graph the system of equations. You did not? Yeah, see, you should. Well, you were supposed to. But I'll just assume that I get you on a test to see that, like, if you can or cannot do it. Right? Well, then, Hey, so, hold on. This is not just a message for Patrick. This is, like, what a lot of us need to hear. And Miss Hunter and I were talking about this before you guys got in here, and we're just, like, speculating, like, I wonder why. Guys, a lot of you, Nolan, listen for a moment. A lot of you are shying away or kind of trying to hide or avoid the things that are difficult and make us feel a little bit uncomfortable. And I'm blaming COVID on that, because for a while we just kind of got to hang out in our bedrooms and like everything was pretty comfortable and like nobody pushed us outside that comfort zone. if you're going to look at me and say, oh, I hate graphing, I don't like it, that means you need to practice. That means you don't like it because you're not comfortable with it. Once you get comfortable with reading this, looking at it, saying, oh, that's the y-intercept, that's the slope, I know that that means I start at -2, and then I go down to over 5, and then I can determine that these lines are actually parallel with each other, and they will never meet each other. Yeah, and we could even just see that straight up from the slope, but the problem asks us to graph the lines. So, on the grid below, and guys, this is because I'm nicer than the textbook, and I make these homework assignments so you have graph space.
Thank you.
Alternatively, you would just have to go get graph paper and yada yada, do it yourself. The only thing I don't do is put the axes on here because I want you to practice drawing the axes.
Mr. Hudson, we appreciate you.
I appreciate you guys. Seriously, I know how difficult we make middle school. Like, we have high expectations. I'm not trying to make it any harder than it needs to be. I'm trying to make your life a little bit easier. I don't know why I haven't said it as much this year, but my job, like, genuinely, I feel like my job as a middle school math teacher is to make your life easier. But I'm talking in the long run. I want you to understand math better and be more comfortable with this to make your life easier. Now, in the short term, what that means is I assign you homework every night, with the goal of that will eventually make your life easier, make your life better, make your life more profitable. Like, I hope that all of what I'm teaching you has a positive impact on your life. All right, that's graphing. Get over it. Do the hard stuff. Oh, I had, with the class coming in, like, right after you guys, I had this talk with them yesterday about quit hiding from the hard stuff. I'll go back to the answers for anyone who was still double-checking answers.
Is this how you check it?
Sure, we have like 3 minutes.
I don't know what this means. I would
Square radical values, so... I think it was double-checking here, because I think I just couldn't follow your work exactly. So, I want to see the setup of, like, the Pythagorean of what we're actually doing. I think I stuck this back in my binder now. But, like, we want to write out the work we're doing and how we get there, at least to show that, like, radical 625 is how we get to 25.
Okay.
Right? Because here, you're not showing that this squared makes that, and that squared makes that, and that square rooted makes that. So, yeah, just show what you're doing. I don't know that I actually put you in as a check minus. I think I put you in as a check, but let me double check.
I think you put it in the check. I checked.
I think I was like, I think I will make Jake come see me if I make it a check minus. But then I was like, Jake will come see me anyways because he doesn't normally avoid me.
Not very avoidable. Or you're not very avoidable.
Well, you're also loud, so I can normally find you. If you've avoided... Dude, that was the number one thing my teachers would say to my parents at conferences. They'd be like, Micah's kind of loud. And jokes on everybody else, I became a teacher where I'm supposed to be loud.
I'm loud.
So, seriously, so where I grew up is a very small town, and my parents will still run into, well, some of them have passed away just because it's been a while and they were in their later teaching career. They'll run into teachers that I had, and they'll ask how I'm doing. And they're like, oh, Micah's a teacher now. And they're like, oh, that's perfect. He would be such a... But it's because I never shut up. Where the heck are you, Fisher?
Oh, I am nowhere.
Does that mean that I'm being
Oh,
the
this is the
teacher
wrong
because I know?
class.
I wonder why.
9, 2, what? God, we've had some... Oh, it's not even in math yet. I'm an idiot.
You're welcome.
Sweet, I got you as a check. But 927 I'm missing.
Yeah, I just
Turn it in, okay. I'm going to stop this recording because I got a line of people. But guys, I only got like 2 minutes. Extension.